Hello, hello. This is Ignacy from Portal Games.
And Corey Thompson from Above Board TV and Dice Tower Dish.
And this is the Podfather of Gaming, Stephen Bonacore. You are listening to Board Games Insider, episode 319, and we're recording this on May 16th, 2024. Board Games Insider is proud to be powered by Board Game Geek. And again, your ugly mugs are plastered on the front page of BGG. That's very distressing. You know how many people reach out to me and say, I
I
can't
think I
believe
look pretty good.
everybody comes to me and says, like, I can't believe I got to look at your face every week on the front page of Board Game Geek. How you guys doing? This is great. All three of us back together again. People who are really
But,
worrying about you, Ignacy.
but yes, we have a very important meeting today. I wanted to like start a board meeting. What the hell happened when I was away? For the first time in a decade, we are not nominated, not even a win, Golden Geek Award. Like,
You know,
what happened? Like, I missed a couple of shows, and what happened?
we missed a lot of shows and we didn't talk about going out and nominating us. Our fans
I
only go and
know.
nominate us when we talk about, hey, go nominate us. So, hey, sorry. Yes, we did not get nominated. Obviously, we did not win. I'm not sure. Whatever. Maybe we shouldn't even be eligible anymore, but I think we should be. But, you know, Ignacy, if you show up more, then we might actually be nominated.
The
And
fans only
I'm
come
back.
for
I'm
Ignacy.
back.
he's back. All right, Ignacy, what is happening with your very busy life at Portal Games?
My busy life, we released a printing press. I discussed this the last time I was here. It was last month. And now we are finally nailed down all the details for our releases for North America due to a lot of adventures with manufacturers and logistics. So I'm very happy to confirm that in June we are releasing to retail Robinson Crusoe Collector's Edition. All English backers already have the game, and now we can release the game in English in North America. In July, we are going to release Book of Adventures, Robinson Crusoe expansion, brilliant expansion. You guys, you love it when you get it. And then in August, we have AI Space Puzzle. I got this week confirmation from my production that everything is okay and the game will be for Gen Con. And then September, we announced 2 weeks ago second edition of the game Resurgerance. Resurgerance is a game from Ukrainian designer Stan Kordonowski, and we are doing second edition. He was before on a Kickstarter with his game. It was quite a success. The game had very good reviews, and I happened to have a chance to play the game. I loved the game, and we signed with Stan rights for the worldwide edition of the game. So Portal Games is doing not only North America, not only English edition, but also Polish edition, German edition, and we encourage our friends and partners from different markets to also do the game. So this will be our SN release. So finally, I have the core map for the whole year. Lots of great games coming from Portal Games. So check out our website, portalgamesus.com. Check out my Twitter, obviously. I finally can talk with details about these games, and I'm very excited. And on my private time, personal time, yesterday I played Alien RPG role-playing game, and I love going back to role-playing games and playing. So I had a blast. I play with one of the friends I'm playing with is my friend who I played with during my high school times. So a long time player, and we had a blast. So in my personal time, I'm playing and having blast. In my professional life, I have my schedule finally, so I'm very happy.
Excellent. Corey?
Very cool. So I am getting ready for an absolutely epic couple weeks. Heading out to the Napa Valley house where Bonacore is going to show up, and for a week we're going to
Ooh.
eat fancy food, drink fancy wine, and play
Fancy
decidedly
games.
not fancy board games.
Oh, I
It's going to
can't.
be fantastic. And so I'm heading there tonight. Then next week on Thursday, we're going to head to KublaCon, where Stephen is I think just an average special guest. There are better special guests. They're up here, and Stephen's like down here.
I'm pretty sure that's not correct, but go ahead.
Steven is a
So
guest.
KublaCon over Memorial Day weekend. I'm going to see so many friends and play so many games. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Today, also on the schedule, I am heading out to a field in the middle of nowhere to talk with a beekeeper about filming a board game while covered with honeybees. So Above Board is still up to its old tricks. The other thing going on with Above Board, which is really interesting, is we're doing review videos now. We're looking back at videos we did up to a year ago because we've had our 1 year anniversary on YouTube. So we are commenting on the best videos we've done, like the shark video and the volcano video and things like that, and talking about what happened behind the scenes, how did it get made, what worked, what did not work. Things like, oh, there was a little tiny hurricane right next to us when we were filming the shark video, which caused some problems.
That's awesome.
The other really interesting thing is with Dice Tower Dish, I'm trying to revive back up interviews that I did with Dice Tower Dish. And right now I am processing and starting to post an interview I did with one Ignacy. The files were lost for a while. They've been recovered, and now I've got the great job of transcribing a somewhat thick accent. But I'm having such a good time reading it again.
You need a thicker accent. You need to do me so that you'd have my accent, which is obviously thicker than Ignacy's.
Sorry, did you say something? I just heard noises and I saw a lot of gestures and I had no idea what you're talking about. No, Ignacy tells just the most amazing stories, and I'm having such a good time going through these audio files. Agreed, it is late. So this is an interview that Ignacy was kind enough to do with me at Dice Tower East over a year ago. But we're talking about all sorts of really valid things, and those should be going online pretty soon. So.
Thank you.
That's cool. And, you should take the opportunity when I'm out at your house to interview me. I don't see why you would not have me on this show yet.
I thought you were trying to help
I am a noted something in the industry. So, okay, whatever. I mean,
that's a great tagline for the business card. I'm noted something. I love it.
I noted something. I will make
something.
you that business card.
All right, over here at the Podfather of Gaming. I don't remember if I mentioned the gaming that I've done recently, specifically on the Podfather cruise. Maybe I mentioned it, but I'm going to mention this again. I played the One Ring 2nd Edition. That's the Lord of the Rings role-playing game from Free League.
Yeah.
And really had a great time doing it. I played something bigger than the intro adventure that they kind of give you. The DM Patrick, he was awesome, and he took 6 of us on a quest as a varied party. I was a grumpy dwarf scholar of all things,
love it,
etc. And it was really great. So I'm really gonna try at some point to DM, GM, whatever you want to call it in this world, a One Ring 2nd Edition RPG. I can't wait to try to do that. Haven't GM'd in like a million years, basically about a million years. The other big thing in gaming that I've done recently is I played Tishu for the first time in a little while, and I played Tishu many times, but I've always been like, I don't get the hype around this game. Well, Jeff Anderson, right, who runs BGGCon, BGGSC.
Oh, he loves Tishu.
And he also ran my cruise, right? He set it all up and I branded it. He explained the game in a way, not because it's that difficult, but in a way to make you understand why you do things in that game, because that game is 100% a partnership game. Me, if Ignacy and I are partners and Corey and Mary are partners, the only thing I care about is making sure that Ignacy goes out, especially if he calls Tishu, or if especially he calls Grand Tishu. I now am a convert. I think it is an amazing partnership, the best partnership ladder climbing, Corey, not trick taking, ladder climbing game out there. So
It's a subgenre.
Yeah, okay.
Your very close friend Zev Schlesinger loves the game. He
Yes.
played with Mary many times, so you have your partner now.
I now have a partner, and Dan.
I think it's because I made you play Panda Spin, which
was great.
Re-sparked your interest.
It's funny, it didn't at all, but that's Panda Spin is great. I can't wait to actually get that and play it a few more times. Jeff Anderson is a huge fan, as you all both mentioned, and the way that he brought the game to life for me and explained how that interaction is got to work so that you can play better. It was like, okay, I get it. So Dan DiLorenzo, he's a huge fan too. Frank DiLorenzo from R&R Games, those guys. I can't wait to play with them and the whole crew that I see always playing that game. So the trips that are coming up, as Corey mentioned, it's the Corey house party with a birthday party associated with that for his friend Maggie. I can't wait to be there. That's going to just be so much fun. And that's a party. And then we go into this wine drinking dinner thing for the next several days after that. And then we both go over to Kubla Khan for the Memorial Day weekend, Thursday to Monday. Please, everybody out there, if you see us there, come over and hang out. Let's play a game. Let's get a drink. Let's just have a good time together. Hopefully, Corey, are you bringing people with you to do some extra filming? You mentioned that you might be doing that.
It's going to be a little bit of a mixed bag. So Greg Benson, who is one of the cast members on Above Board, he has relatives in the town in Burlingame, California. So he's going to be coming out for at least one or two of the days. So it'll be really fun. Greg is just a kick.
He is. He really is. Well, that's great. Now let's get to the event deck. All right, Ignacy, we have had so much news over the past weeks that you have not been here. I had to save one piece of news about GAMA because I know how much you love GAMA.
I think I put that in today.
I know. It's a brand new, it's actually not saved. It's a brand new news story from ICV2. Corey, if you'd like to do it, since you put it there, go for it.
No. Ignacy, please.
Well, we have to have him comment on it. Anyway, all right, I'll read it. GAMA showed profits after 2020, despite revenue reductions due to the pandemic. So the Game Manufacturers Association, aka GAMA, showed profits for 2022 and 2021 after a big loss in 2020, despite ongoing pandemic impacts to revenues. GAMA showed a $31,000 profit in 2020 on revenues of $849,000. Expenses were cut dramatically during COVID, and revenues were down as the organization's shows were impacted. Their shows, the GAMA Expo and Origins, are their two main ways of bringing in revenue for the organization. For comparison, the 2019 revenues were $939,000, showing a $99,000 loss in 2019. So overall, this is very good news, of course. GAMA has turned themselves around quite a bit, Ignacy, and they are doing a good job. Their show this year, which is not reflected here, their GAMA Expo, which was in Louisville, Kentucky, and they had a great show. It was the record show, so their numbers for next year should be even better. Ignacy, we'd like an official quote from you to send to GAMA on this news.
I was about to come with something creative, but actually the person who wrote the piece on ICV2 did the whole commentary, because in the next paragraph they say, in our examination of the organization ERS filings, we discovered the financial information of organization has released in 2021 and 2020 was incorrect. And like, what can I say? Like, GAMA cannot do even IRS filings.
Yeah, this article is basically just pulling public IRS things, so there's no numbers for 2023. It's too recent.
Right.
But yeah, Executive Director John Stacy told ICV2 that bookkeeping had been disrupted by the pandemic, so the numbers were incorrect for 2020 and 2021.
Okay. Anyway,
one day there will be a news when GAMA looks very professional. We are all waiting for that.
Anyway, we have news that is great for, of course, the people who won these awards. So the Golden Geek Award winners were announced. And Corey, why don't you tell us about who won the Golden Geek Awards and why we were not nominated?
Well, I mean, I think of the three of us, which one is the expert on self-promotion? Which one is really the barker, the carnival caller, the
Wow.
so there's a whole bunch of nominations for Board Game Geek Awards. These, of course, are the awards that are run through BGG, the Golden Geeks. So we have for two-player game, the winner is Sky Team. For artwork, it's Castles of Burgundy Special Edition. Cooperative game, Sky Team. Sky Team has won a whole bunch. Best expansion was Ark Nova's expansion. The most innovative was Hegemony, Lead Your Class to Victory. There's Light Game of the Year, Medium Game of the Year, and Heavy Game of the Year, which were won by Thunder Road Vendetta for Light, Earth for Medium, and Heavy got Hegemony again. The best party game was That's Not a Hat. The best print and play was Waypoints. The best solo game, Legacy of You from Shem Phillips. Thematic, again, Hegemony, Lead Your Class to Victory. Best war game was Undaunted, Battle of Britain. The best podcast, I don't want to talk about that.
One Stop Co-op Shop. That's a
who
good
is a
name.
fantastic group. The One Stop Co-op Shop. They do a great show.
They do.
And the best board game app was Unmatched Digital Edition.
I guess one of the things we can say about this is that Hegemony, Lead Your Class to Victory, and Sky Team really did very, very well in the various categories. That's the two things that jump out on this.
Yes, I'm very proud publisher of Hegemony for Polish market. So I absolutely love the game and I'm very, very happy. This is not from the big publisher in originally. It was a crowdfunded game, so I'm very happy for their success, and the game is absolutely brilliant. So strong recommendation from me. If Golden Geek Award is not enough, there is additional Ignacy recommendation. The game is, and it won both a heavy game and a thematic game. And I want to point on that. This game is heavy Euro, but like designed by Portal Games in terms of that it is so thematic. You understand every action you do, everything you do in the game makes sense, and it is like almost role-playing game with a Euro mechanism. Brilliant game.
And innovative game. So all three of those awards it won
for.
So
what is a cool idea. It's such a bizarre heavy Euro where every player plays a different aspect of the political economic structure. One player is the state and sorry, Ignacy.
I have an anecdote about this game because this game, my team assigned this game for Polish market when I had my troubles. I was not working for a couple of months. Long story, not interesting. But basically, I came back to the office after a few months, and I see that we signed the Polish edition of the game about the politics and running a country. And I said, what a stupid idea. We don't need a game of the politics. Who the hell signed the game? And everybody's like, no, Ignacy is really good. I mean, I don't want a political game. We did amazing Die Macher. It was a great game, but it was not financial success. I'm done with political games. No. Ignacy, it's signed. It's too late. I said, guys. And then the game was sold out in Poland, got all the awards. It's amazing. And I had to go to my employees and said, guys, you were right. I love you. But I was furious when I learned that we signed a game about politics. So all of you who listen to the podcast, it's really brilliant game. It's thematic. It's really great.
I'd like to point out that while I excuse Ignacy for this, I do not excuse Corey for pronouncing the name wrong. It's hegemony. Hegemony is the way you pronounce that word, not hegemony. Hegemony. Oh, it's just,
hegemony.
Hegemony. That's right.
Can you buy it on Amazon?
Can you buy the game? I'm sure.
Okay.
Hegemony is that name has actually been used in many games, actually, and in many ways. The Tholian hegemony was a race in Star Trek, if you remember that. Yep. Anyway. This is great. I mean, I'm really excited. I mean, I always like to see this. It's sort of the People's Choice Awards. Let's kind of face it, right? It's going to be whichever games are bought the most in a lot of ways. and the people who are the biggest users of BGG, of course, are going to win awards here. But that's fine. It means that these are very, very popular games, and they're, of course, very good games. The one game on here that I really am dying to play is Sky Team, because I just keep hearing about it. It's
It's
a
great.
great
Oh,
two-player
it's
game.
amazing. It's a really cool cooperative 2-player dice placement game. I really enjoyed. I got to play it at the Gathering of Friends with Joel Gagnon because it was originally done through Randolph, and I've just been a fan of it for a couple years now.
And I have another anecdote.
Another
Okay.
anecdote. There
So,
you go.
so CEO of Portal Games, Greg Polewka, comes to my office and says, Ignacy, we need to play test the game. And I said, okay, so let's play test it. He puts Sky Team on the table and starts explaining. And I ask him, dude, it is about the flying. And he says, no, it's about the landing. And you have all these troubles and you have to survive. I mean, Greg, what the hell is going on? And he convinced me to play the game about the landing a plane with all the problems that you can have. And I said, okay, I hate the sim, but the game is so good. And we were trying to do Polish edition of the game. Lucky Duck Games finally got the rights for Polish market. Besides the team that frightens me a lot, the game is brilliant. I strongly recommend. But once again, Greg and this game of the landing, that was stupid.
Making you play a game about landing a plane is like making
That
me
was-
play
yeah.
a game about hairy spiders that are the size of your hand. No, 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 no. I'm not
I can
doing
send
it.
you one of those.
No, really, no. Thank you. I'm sorry. I am arachnophobic. Please, nobody out there use that against me. Please. It's really not good. I need a psychiatrist for my my arachnophobia. Anyway, the next one is extremely interesting in a weird way. Hackers attacked the website of Japan's biggest board game fair,
Yeah.
and really big losses occurred. This is the Tokyo Game Fair that just finished recently, right?
Yeah, it's the company Game Market, and they run a number of fairs in Tokyo and Osaka, and these are the largest fairs within Japan, including the Tokyo Game Market. The company said in a statement that its servers were accessed illegally 10 a.m. on May 15th, with the hackers replacing all of the
Wow.
images posted on the site with fraudulent images.
This happened literally just within the last 12 hours or something like that. That means,
Yeah.
wow.
Yes, someone is good at news. No, this is from Board Game Wire. Board Game Wire is amazing
They
at
are
finding
amazing.
news and posting news quickly. So all the credit to them. So Game Market has more than 11,500 games listed on its site, going back almost a decade, in addition to over 26,000 blog posts from publishers, designers, and businesses such as board game cafes and game bars, all of which lost their images through the attack. So a statement from the organizers posted on the site said exhibitor information and applications for future events were not directly affected as they're kept on a separate system. They said, we sincerely apologize for the loss of the irreplaceable information that you've accumulated over the years. When I think of everyone's hearts and efforts, I feel an indescribable amount of remorse and apology. So really, not a happy story, not a cool story. And again, someone just kind of ruined everyone's fun. So best of we extend all of our all of our thoughts towards the Tokyo Game Market. This really is quite a blow, and it's going to take a little while to bring the website and the images back to the state that they were. They really were in such a great position.
So Corey, isn't this the same group who owns this, the Kadokawa Group?
This was news a couple weeks ago that a large conglomerate, that group, the Katakawa Group, had purchased Tokyo Game Market, and they also, I believe, own ArcLight, which is one
Yes.
of the big publishing distributors.
So look at that.
So it's equivalent to kind of the Embracer story, a big group owning a whole bunch of media companies within Japan.
Kind of cool that, yeah. So we literally just 2 weeks ago had that story where they bought ArcLight, one of the largest publishing companies there. So Katagawa bought them, and Katagawa also owns Tokyo Game Market, and now their company there just got hacked, and that's kind of a shame.
The big one that they own is From Software, which is the group that does Elden Ring, Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Bloodborne, really famous series of video games.
Very interesting. All right. Lighter news week this week than usual, but we have a lot of questions for Ignacy, especially in strategy and tactics. All right, Ignacy, since you were away, we saved some things for you. The first one was from Eric, who's at Chewy. He's a big contributor here. Ignacy, if somebody bought out your company, what would you do next? Retire or keep on designing more games?
I would not keep on designing more games.
He would not.
Nobody bought my game, and I'm not doing more games anyway. So at this point, if I can go a little bit about my personal life in this situation, in this last year or so, I let myself have more time for personal things. So that's why sometimes in the podcast I report that I run role-playing games, or I started my personal YouTube channel about geeks, or I'm reading comic books all the time. So I work less for the couple of, I think it's a year now. So if somebody, and of course, Portal Games has the CEO, Greg Polewka, who is running the company right now. So if somebody is buying Portal Games, I would read more comic books and I would play more role-playing games. I designed enough. I think I'm proud of what I did, and I don't think that I need to design more games right now.
So you would retire and relax, play games, read comics, chill out, just like me. That's not what I'm doing. No.
That's what I do.
No, that's not what you do. You're the second busiest retired guy on the planet after me. That's great. Ignacy, also Alexander Savinkov. He's a very big contributor as well. He says, Ignacy, we've heard a lot about German and French schools of board game design. What makes a Polish game stand out from the rest? Are there some unique features that separate Polish games from all the others?
That is a great question. I was thinking about this before recording, and I think there is something. I hope I'm not wrong, but if you pick the most famous Polish designs, that would be Nemesis from Adam Kwapinski, it would be Frostpunk, also from Kwapinski, it would be My Robinson Crusoe, or it would be My Detective. And basically, we are doing very immersive games with high story, with very interesting immersive stories. But these games are built like a Euro game. Like there's a solid mechanism. There's like always an interesting challenge, interesting puzzle in terms of the resources or planning actions. But then it is not like, with the whole respect to my friends like Rainer Knizia, Stefan Feld, Rogier Dorn. So our games, Polish games, are solid mechanism, solid Euro mechanism, but very immersive story. So now I was thinking how it happened. I don't know if this may be a case that, as I was talking in the interview with the Corey.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
the whole industry in Poland started in a very weird way, and we had role-playing games and we had no board games. So we sang in stories, and then we suddenly discovered Euro games.
That's interesting.
So I don't know if this is the case, but the most famous Polish games are Euro games, the Storm Sim.
That is a very interesting potential connection between how your industry, how your hobby industry started, and how it migrated to board games. Alexander also mentions, what do you think about the potential for Eastern European designers? Any difference there that might happen? No,
I don't know.
Okay, good try there on. But then Alex also continues with his next question. He says, considering the success of Brass Lancashire, what other game can benefit as much from a new edition? Prior to the updated visuals, I never would have expected this game system to shoot up to the first place on BGG, but here we are. I don't think the new editions of Castles of Burgundy, Agricola, or Puerto Rico will affect the game standings in the international rankings as much, but something made Brass special. What could it be? That's open to everybody.
Well, just to put it out there, Brass had a long history of being at the top of the BGG list. There's some of these classic titles that were at the top of BGG, and there was a lot of political back and forth about trying to keep them at the top of the BGG list.
That's a whole nother story.
Brass was very active there. So as soon as there was a new edition, which I disagree, it is very pretty. It has lovely production value, the new Roxley edition. I think that kind of set it in the BGG list.
Yeah.
Castles of Burgundy made a little spike there because again, it historically was at the top. Puerto Rico's got its whole other list of problems. The new edition of Puerto Rico is actually a new reworking of the game, and there's all sorts of discussion about what the theming is. The original theming was kind of inappropriate, and people don't really like the heavy colonial theming. There's actually theming about slavery, which is really not good. The new edition had its own issues with trying to redo the theming and the direction of the game, and it had production issues. So Puerto Rico probably won't pop into that.
I think that Brass, the original, and then Brass Birmingham. I mean, they had such kind of cult followings. Martin Wallace kind of has a cult following to begin with, and then he had Brass, and that was a huge hit. And then Birmingham, and then Lancashire. So I think that everybody who liked one kind of kept going to these slightly changed tweaks in the system, which all were for the better. And now you have the best one. So people jumped on that one, but they're different enough that that's why it shot up to the top, and maybe deservedly so. It's an excellent, of course, game. All right, Alexander continues. Oh, by the way, he's V Pupkin. I didn't mention that. Thank you again, Alexander, for all of your contributions. Do you think there's a place for an international annual celebration of board gaming? I think every convention on the planet is that, maybe. Will Wheaton's Tabletop has held Tabletop Day for several years, but since the show was canceled, the celebration has stopped as well. Yet each year I see several gaming clubs and publishers trying to revive this holiday. With more support, I could see this becoming a much larger thing, which could help introduce new people to the hobby. What do you guys think? Is there a place for an international annual celebration of board gaming?
Me, as a comic book nerd, I always, every year, I look at the Free Comic Book Day. A huge appreciation of the comic books when publishers release shorts as a free comic books to promote the hobby. And I think it's brilliant participating every year in this comic book event. So I believe that our hobby needs something like that. And when there was back then, International Tabletop Day, I was, as a Portal Games, participating. We are preparing some events, we are doing some gameplays in the internet. So yes, we need this. I agree.
Yeah, we definitely need it. And let's not forget Free RPG Day, which was done in tandem with Free Tabletop Day, but Free RPG Day is still kind of trundling along. It is June 22nd this year, so don't forget it's like a month away.
Cool.
But yeah, I agree. I would love to have a tabletop day again. It was at its high point. It really was pretty amazing how many things were being announced, being talked about, and little free mini games were being offered at all sorts of stores. It's just so hard to organize something like Free Tabletop Day because it has to be organized through all the retailers. There's not really any other central place.
If we only had an organization, a trade organization that could organize something like this.
That's a good idea.
Ignacy, why don't you call GAMA? Actually, it's funny. We did talk about this 2 weeks ago, last week, 2 weeks ago, that, the new GAMA board, it's all women on the executive committee of the GAMA board, which is really wonderful. And Nicole Brady, who is the president, is just an amazing person. She really, I just can't speak more highly of her and her husband, Scott Brady, designer. So maybe I'll just put that in her head and say, hey, why don't you revive this?
Day.
Make this a thing. You got all the retailers. All the retailers are part of GAMA now. So anyway, I think that is a great idea. Thank you, Alex, for that. Ron Graves from Canada, who's at Buckaroo. This is a long question. Sorry for the long-winded question, he says. I recently received a game that I backed on Kickstarter. The game was delivered as promised, and I have no issues with the game I received. It was long out of print, and it was given a redesign, and it was great to have a publisher get it back out in print and available. There were no Kickstarter exclusives that were additions to the game itself. They were peripheral items that added nothing to the game. Overall, I'm very happy with the game I received. The Kickstarter promise was that backers would have the game and the price they paid would be significantly lower than anyone buying at retail. Now it has hit the online retail market. The game is selling for an all-in price, including shipping and border fees, that is quite a bit less than the all-in price paid by backers. Okay, we see kind of where this is going. I understand that it's difficult for a publisher to know what the shipping and border fees will affect the cost to the backer. In this case, they used the one delivery company, DHL, that routinely collects border fees to Canada. Most of the others managed to get product delivered without those fees. This added $30 to my delivery cost. That is a lot. Even without that additional cost, the amount I paid was more than the retail plus shipping. Additionally, the MSRP announced on the Kickstarter is $28 Canadian, more than the $28 Canadian more than the online retailer is selling it for. Bottom line, the online retailer is selling it for less than the lower Kickstarter backer cost. So, should this piss me off? Ultimately, I am not really pissed off about it. I have a game I have wanted for years, and I knew this was likely to happen knowing how the online retail market works, but backed anyway because I wanted it made. But some people are pissed, and it is hard to say they shouldn't be. If the Kickstarter backers had not supported the project, it would not have been made, period. And now others that did not back it, so it would get made, are benefiting from getting the game cheaper. As a publisher, what responsibility do you have to go, quote, over and above to protect the backer from feeling they were just a means to an end to get the game to market? Should the publisher limit the discount on an online retailer can sell the game for to protect their promise to retail customers? Will pay more than the Kickstarter backer? Can they? Should backers of a project feel entitled to price protection in a scenario where the game, quote, would not get made without their support? It wasn't a guarantee that this game would fund. This is a big question. We can almost do an episode on this.
It's an old story, though. It's an old story. So, I mean, basically, when a Kickstarter comes out, I think you have to assume that you're going to pay more for the game. One, it's a promise of getting it earlier, and two, it's a promise of getting the game made, and three, it's not a promise at all. Kickstarter still, we have to say it over and over and over again. Kickstarter is not a pre-order system. Kickstarter is not a purchase of a game. Kickstarter is a support of an idea. And we are lucky enough that most of these ideas do get made in a timely manner, like a pre-order system, but we can't assume that Kickstarter is a pre-order system for an already existing product.
And from my perspective, I can only assure all the customers, all the gamers, that for us, for the publisher, you would not believe how much time we spent debating and calculating and looking for the best solution to make happy backers who invested in the thing for the first place, and also all the people who buy in the retail later on. Because the baseline, because it was a very long question, but the question is very simple. If the game was on a Kickstarter for $100, I paid $100 and 20 shipping, so I paid $120 for the game, and then I see it on the miniature market for $70 and free shipping, and I feel not very happy. And this is how the business works, because online stores, with the Amazon being the biggest one, selling below MSRP, while at Kickstarter or GameFound you are buying with MSRP. And Amazon and online stores give you free shipping because they are crazy. We taught you many times there is no something like free shipping, but they give you free shipping. And the Kickstarter and GameFound will not give you free shipping. So there is always somebody unhappy, and publishers giving you exclusives, giving you some additional stretch goals, giving you some bonuses, try to make this deal better for you. But then over the time, as you see how the industry changes, all these exclusives become exclusive, but you can buy them later on the website, or you can buy them later on the convention. So they are not so much exclusives because every publisher tries to modify the offer. So basically, it is impossible to solve this, like this three-body question, right? You will never solve the situation.
It's the three-body problem. It's not possible to be in perfect harmony.
Either we protect the backer, either we protect the final customer. Both customers are very important for the publisher.
Right, the backer, the final, the publisher. It's right. That's a really good way of putting it. You have to try to create this triangle that's going to make everybody happy, but nobody ends up being completely happy.
Exactly.
Everything you guys just said, and we've talked about it numerous times, is absolutely accurate, especially that you can't rely on Kickstarter. The only thing you can rely on Kickstarter is that you're helping bring this game out. That's it. I mean, that's what you're doing. You're not going to necessarily get your game, even though you paid for it. Though, to minimize that problem, only support known publishers and known companies. You're not necessarily going to get the best price because of the way things come out. All of these things are possible, and you get your game hopefully before it comes out to everybody else. That's all we can do. It should people be pissed off a little bit, but you had your game, you got your game, and that's the cool part about the whole thing, right? All right. And I noticed that somebody just crossed out something here, so I'm going to move right down.
But
Thank you.
Guys, we are recording 45 minutes already. It's time for the play testing and asking questions from us. Like, who's taking the attention, paying attention to the time?
You're the one who's supposed to put like next week in my show notes here so that I know when to stop. But I have you here, Ignacy, so I'm gonna use you to the most that I can. So, all right.
I wasn't paying attention because Ignacy's here. I mean, it's Ignacy's job to run that whip.
He beats me up all the time when he's here, but he didn't this time. But for you, Ignacy,
I'm out of the shape.
Let's go to playtesting. All right, last week's question. I thought this was very interesting, and it's Corey's question. So, Corey, why don't you take over and tell us what the question was, and then we'll talk about the answers.
So, I've often thought about board game stores and the economic model of how to run a board game store. Inherently, there are problems with running a board game store. So the question is, board game stores have the problem of people staying and playing all day without making purchases. And this is hyperbole. Most people are very kind and polite about this. But as a consumer, would you rather pay a cover fee to enter the store, a rental fee for a table, a rental fee for a game, or maybe a minimum food or drink charge? How would you, as a customer, be willing to help support the board game store model?
This is a great question, and you hit the premise of the question is the most important. That it's really hard to run a board game store profitably, and that's what has to happen, right? And it goes right into the online retailer problem, if you want to call it, that they will immediately discount games when they come out, of course. So, and a retailer has almost got to sell it at full MSRP or really close to it because they need that extra revenue for each product. So anybody want to pick something? I'll pick one here first that I didn't quite understand, but I want to mention this one. It's from Mario Sousa. He says, I'm a frequent visitor of a board game store/bar where I live. They have a collection fee. And I don't understand what that means exactly. Maybe we can figure it out. They have a collection fee per person, which I am super fine with, even though it was completely new to me when I moved to the Netherlands. I think personally, as a gamer, for me, the best would be a minimum food or drink charge. However, I recognize the best for the store would be at minimum a rental fee for a table or to use the available collection, probably charging per person. Do you guys know what that means? A collection fee? Is that just
I'm guessing it's a library fee.
Like a subscription, yeah, I think.
Yeah, and I've seen this as well. I've seen quite a few board game stores that will have a club where you pay a subscription fee, a yearly, a monthly fee, and you get access to a lot of the things that people who don't pay don't have access to.
Okay.
A separate room, different tables, a board game library, things like that. So we have at Multiplayer said a cover fee to enter the store. That's an excellent way to scare off customers who just want to come in and browse the games. And agreed, the cover fee, I've seen it in a few stores, and it is not strongly enforced. If you come in and buy a game, they waive a cover fee. Multiplayer also goes on to say a rental fee for table, rental fee for game. That's an okay idea for me. Although I'd like to be able to show up there, have a look if someone wants to play something with me. And after that one game, maybe I have time for another one with a nice group. And then there comes the problem of how to start splitting the bill. A minimum food drink charges solves the problem of payment. So this seems the most viable option. And as an extra idea for the owner of the store, add some food drink items that you can buy but can take home with you. This is a useful instance in a situation where someone just had enough food and drinks, still wants to play and support the store, but doesn't want to waste refreshments. So a lot of good ideas there. And in general, with the answers that we've seen here, people are pretty okay with extra fees. The cover fee just walking in the door, I agree that was a bit of an extreme circumstance that I put in the question. That one got a little bit of negative, but the
Yeah.
idea of having a minimum food drink or rental for table or rental for game, people are okay with this.
Mhm.
So I think in general, people want to help support their friendly local game store, and they understand that it's not a valid business model to open your door, let people bring their own games in, sit down, play a game for 8 hours, and not pay the store anything.
Yeah.
And I would put in my own plea that if you do things like this, buy something from the store, support your local stores.
Yeah. 100, or they're going to go away, and they will go away. And we see it happen all the time. Bill Brecker, good buddy, artist over at Indie Game Studios, he says that I think this issue parallels the problems that movie theaters suffered during the 90s and 2000s. For decades, movie theaters operated with little to no competition for their entertainment dollars. Most establishments remained unchanged going back to the 70s, and small operators generally didn't invest in new technology. So he's saying that and the way nothing happened. And he said, I think I would think that charging a fee for the usage of a table would be most likely path to find success, as it directly reflects the experience they would be selling. So the game store has to evolve in a similar manner to other businesses like movie theaters that have now changed their models. Like you get reserved seating, you can have food brought to your table, things like that. That's how revenue is now generated in movie theaters across the US. More services available that you pay for because they're cool services. Why not have that kind of stuff in the game store to get the more revenue coming in?
Along with that, really interesting from Ann W. Uh, Anne wrote, a lot of board game cafes lose sight of what the real competition is. My house. At my house, I have a wall of games, a big gaming table, and my favorite snacks.
That's
And
great.
so I really like that idea. The competition is not among different stores. The competition is, why should I go in a store and play a game that I can play at home? It's a good meeting place for other people, but there have to be some sort of uplifted amenities, some upsell. Is the table nicer? Is the room nicer? Is the atmosphere nicer? Is there a better supply of snacks and foods and things to enjoy?
I
That's
had I don't want to go too long because we're already too long, but in 2017 I had this seminar. I was doing the various shows and about how to run a brick and mortar store in e-commerce era and how to survive. So there was like a whole 1 hour seminar with the ideas and different strategies. And one of the simplest to introduce for the auditors that are listening to us, teach a game. Many gamers hate to open the rulebook. I'm looking at you, Stephen. And
true.
if
True.
somebody can just pay $5 or $10 and get the game explained, you have busy tables. It's as simple as that.
Wow, that is a very interesting thing. We have to be presented
Agreed.
correctly. Have to be presented correctly, but that is a very interesting thing.
And
Ignacy, will
this
you
is
please
better than your home.
would you please teach me Castles of Burgundy Special Edition, which is sitting right over there. It's mocking me. The box is tremendous. It's twice the size of my head, this box.
I
I
would
can't wait.
I would come, but I
All right.
heard that you are going to Napa Valley, so I would miss you. So
Paula will be
I
here.
would teach it, but I don't want to play games with Steven.
That's thank you. All right. Since we are running long, as has been reminded by Ignacy here, Corey, you again, because you're very good at this, you've come up with a really good question here for next week. So can you give us next week's question? Or this week's question? This week's question.
Week. Well, you keep editing in front of me, so it's hard to follow where the words are going.
Okay.
So, just a really simple, straightforward question. For currency in a game, money, do you prefer to play with paper money, cardboard tokens, metal coins, poker chips? I've even seen cards, well-made linen currency cards. And do you prefer that a game comes with one of these over the other?
This is a great question. I'll let you
I
guys
think this is a
quickly.
very simple question. Like, who would love to play with the paper money? Unless playing Millennium Blades, in which
So-
you have the whole stack of paper money, which is brilliant.
Well, first, I
I
have to
will say-
address that. I have to address that immediately. Paper money. Do you notice that every 2F Spiele game, right? Freedom and Freeze games, everyone that has currency uses paper money. Why does that happen, Ignacy? Because Freedom and Freeze loves paper money. It's what he likes to play the game with. So he puts
Yeah.
that in all of his games. I think that
How many times in this podcast we mentioned that Friedman is crazy?
Now, I'll say that the classic Firefly board game, big, huge Gale Force 9 Firefly board game, came with amazing paper money. It was the way paper money should be done. I would not want to play that game with anything except that paper money.
I guess that most people don't think of it though with that cool money in it. But yeah, sometimes you can make very cool paper money. Friedman's games come with Monopoly style paper money. He thinks that's the way to play games. Well, I bet that's not going to be most people in this thread. For me, I would like my games to come with cardboard tokens. I mean, just because it's very easy on the publisher to make it. It's very simple to use coins that you just go back and forth. It's very simple, very easy, tactile enough. However, that's the play. That's the come with. The play, I like to play with things that are big and chunky. Metal coins that I can get from any, as you can see behind me, the million games behind me, that I can get from any of these other games that I had in special edition, or poker chips or something like that. That makes me feel good when I'm making change and taking in bigger, chunkier things. But I don't want every game to come with it. Then every game weighs 15 pounds and costs so much more. So comes with cardboard tokens, and then I like to play with something like metal coins or poker chips.
I will be very quick. I agree with Steven. And then I'm going longer, and I want to share my wisdom with all friendly publishers. So, in the games, if you are cardboard tokens for money, in games, let's say in your game there's a currency of 1, 5, and 10. For most of the time, players are interacting with the 1 token until they need to change for the 5, yes? So the most time they use the token 1. So why the hell in your game token value 1 is the smallest one, the most difficult to grab? Why don't you reverse that? The ones that you are using less often are the small, the ones that you are using more often are bigger. It was wisdom from Ignacy, greeting from Poland.
But come on, the European money system has, even the paper bills are bigger as they have bigger values. And as Americans, we get all sorts of grief for all of our paper bills being the same size and our coins not making any sense with their size.
Coins are all over the place. And very few people are using coins these days. Anyway, let's move on. Right now, Ignacy, because he's finally back, is going to go create a thread in our guild on Board Game Geek with this question for you to answer. So please go to the guild on Board Game Geek, find the play testing thread for 319 and answer. And hopefully we'll address that in the next episode. In the meantime, the final scoring. Thank you all so much for listening. Help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts, or watch Board Games Insider on the Podfather of Gaming YouTube channel. If you want to be part of this podcast, you can just ask us questions for us to take for the strategy and tactics segment, or answer our question to you from our playtesting segment by going over to Board Game Geek, finding our guild, and putting that question or answer in the right place. Check out our websites, which are portalgamesus.com, podfathergaming.com, dicetowerdish.com, and play2zgames.com. On social media, interact with us. On Facebook, we are /Board Games Insider, /Portal Games US, /Podfather Gaming, /Play to Z Games. Like those pages. We'd appreciate that. And you can speak directly to Ignacy, Corey, Steven on Twitter and Instagram. It's at Portal Games US, at Podfather Gaming, at Dice Tower Dish. And our YouTube channels are Portal Games Studio, The Podfather of Gaming, and Above Board TV. Ignacy on TikTok, which may be going away soon, is Portal Games US. We really love to see you in person at an upcoming convention. So if you're going to be at KublaCon, make sure you say hello to us. And of course, in the future, we've got Origins coming up right around the corner, and we got the whole summer convention season. So hopefully we'll see you at one of those. Board Games Insider, professionally edited by Joshua Bowman from Tabletop Submarine Podcast. If you want to have your podcast edited by Joshua, reach out to him to discuss at tabletopsubmarine@gmail.com. And that great voice you hear doing the intro, the outro, the in-between segments, that's Ray Greenlee, and he can be contacted to do your voiceover work at raygreenleevoiceover.com. Gentlemen, tell us something interesting.
Obviously, because I'm back. Dear listener, this is Ignacy asking you to spread the word about our podcast. Tell your friends that this amazing podcast, Board Game Insider, with the Slavic accent, the New York accent, and Napa Valley accent, or whatever. And then we talk about the board games, and we know what we are talking about, and it's very fun and interesting and educative. We need your help spreading the word about the podcast. Thank you.
Yeah,
What he said.
what he said.
Thanks,
Thanks, everybody.
So
we'll see you.
and glib.
We'll see you in San Francisco just as you're about to hear this, or right as you're hearing this. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you, everyone.